welcome back. This is David and Michael Vatcher with video number 3 in the Legends of Rakasa video instruction manual series. It's important that you have previously watched the first and second video in this series. Those are the game component and the Rakmin videos. If you haven't watched those, go back and watch those. Otherwise, this walkthrough is going to kind of be a little confusing.
Alright, so Chapter 1 begins as hunters aspiring to join the chief's hunting party, and that's in preparation for a dragon hunt that the chief is called. If you want the full story, go ahead and read the instruction manual. You could also read some of the text off of the chief's request. Actually, we need Chapter 1's card. Proven Worth, Chapter 1. You could read some of the text off of this, the story, the mechanics, they're all on this card. We aren't going to read that, you can read that yourselves. Just to be short on this though, Chief's call to hunt, we want to be a part of his hunting party. To qualify, we have to bring back 4 creatures from the road. The Kalinchi, Polarilu, Gagak, and Opasabukasa. Bringing back those 4 by sundown, and so when this gets to 5 p.m. that's our final hour to get to the village with our spoils. So that's our objective, and again, read the card, read the instruction manual for the full story. With this though, there is a little catch. As aspiring hunters in Rakasa, we don't actually have any equipment to go out and begin hunting. But our grandfather has this secret trunk, and locked inside it is some basic gear to get us going. And so before we could actually go out and start our hunt, we are going to have to pick the lock on the trunk, and that will be done by playing a Rakmin puzzle on it. And once we reach all of our targets, as shown in the Rakmin instructions video, once we reach the targets, then the trunk's unlocked, we take our gear, we go out, we hunt, we get the stuff, we come back, hopefully by sundown. And that's the game scenario.
Now, as you can see, this isn't the full game. At the end of the game components video, we laid out what the full layout of the game should be. You don't have to lay out every part of the game when you play one chapter. You can lay out the specific parts for that individual chapter that you'll need. In this, we're not going to be hunting in the land, so notice the ocean and forest are not present. We also only have one road. You could add a second road and have 2 roads to be hunting off of. We want to concentrate on one road just because it speeds up gameplay a little bit, because all of your monsters are focused in one area. We do have the equipment decks, or the equipment banks for the forest and ocean, because we are able to craft that equipment. It's just we won't need the monsters in those lands to hunt. We've also set aside the boost tokens and the fear tokens and the dragon cards and part of the market, because we won't be needing those market tools in this. Our focus is just get those monsters and get back. And we're trying to do it in a limited amount of time. Also, the other thing about this video, we will pause briefly to explain some major mechanics, but other than that, we're going to kind of just play through at a fairly normal pace so you can see how the pacing of the game works. So, we've already explained Rakmin, so Michael and I will go ahead and begin trying to solve the Rakmin puzzle.
Alright, so our adventure begins at 6 a.m. Tracker's on 6 a.m. Go ahead and get our Rakmin tiles, flip them. And we're picking our starting tiles. Ooh. Mine's be a little rough. Okay. Alright, so we roll to see who goes first. David rolled a 3. I rolled a 6. Okay, so my turn will happen first. Okay, I've got my starting tile for Rakmin. I roll a 4. I place my 4 on the tile. And I am trying to equal 1, and I've got it. Okay, so I've got 4 minus 4 plus 1 is 1, so I move forward this round. Now there's 2 standard ways of rolling your value dice, this dice right here, in Rakmin. One is immediately after you move forward, you roll for a new value. The other way is you wait until the beginning of your next turn. And why that make a difference is in some Rakmin puzzles, you're moving around and doing other things, and you have time to decide. If you roll a number, maybe I'm going to leave the puzzle for a little bit, come back. We're going to go ahead and we're going to play the way where you roll as soon as you move forward. So I move forward and I re-roll for my new value. It's a value of 5. I now have until my next turn to kind of think about how I'm going to solve this. This way is called suspense is the other way. This one's called strategic. So strategic roll gives you time to decide what you're going to do. In other puzzles, you might leave because it's like, oh, I can't use that number. Forget the puzzle right now. I'm going to go do something else. And then suspense is the roll where you have to roll at the very beginning of working on, when you go to start working on the puzzle again, that's when you roll. So you never know what you're going to roll until you commit to working on the puzzle.
So on my turn, I rolled a 4. I have very poor Rakmin tiles to complete this puzzle. Actually, I can't complete it because I have all high numbers. So I chose that one as my starting tile, so it's locked down. These other 3 aren't. So I'm going to swap all 3 because this is extremely difficult tile. And unfortunately, it's going to take my turn, so it's back to Michael.
Okay, so 1 hour has moved forward. It's now 7 a.m. I had time to think about it, so I already know what I'm going to do. I've got -2 on this side, -1. I'm going to add to it, so now I have -3 from 5 puts me at 2. Oh wait, my target is 2 now. Okay, and 5 minus 2 minus 1 is 2. So I move forward. I roll for a new value. I've got 6, and I'm now working towards the number 3 to unlock my trunk. And it's David's turn.
Okay, I got lucky here. I have 4 plus 4 is 8 minus 7 gives me 1.
And like we mentioned before, you can flip your tiles or not flip it. However, it's easiest, whatever's easier for you to track where you are in the puzzle. Okay, so David made his move on his puzzle, and my turn. And I'm working for 3. I got very lucky on my puzzle this round. Real simple. And so we got 6. I rolled 6. I've got -1, -2 lined up. So 6 minus 1 is 5. Minus 2 is 3. And that moves me forward. I've completed my puzzle for this round. So my chest unlocks. And these just get put aside with the dice. They won't be needed for the rest of this chapter. So when you're actually done with these, you can take them out of the game. I'll just set mine up here. When David's done, he can set his up there as well. But as you'll see, they're not needed anymore. Okay, so trunk won't be needed anymore either. My trunk's unlocked. As soon as it is unlocked, I get the items out. In chapter 1, you get 1 of each potion item. Put your speed, power, and defense up 1. And a full set of 1-star gear. And so I'm able to start fighting now. And so my turn ends though. I could open it, but there's nothing I could do now. So it's now David's turn.
I am once again stuck with high numbers, but not the right combinations. To complete the puzzle. So I'm going to go ahead and exchange these tiles for 2 more tiles. And that once again ends my turn. I am having a field day with this puzzle.
Okay, so it's now 8 o'clock. Okay, so on my turn now, I can do. There's 3 things you do on a player's turn. You travel, hunt, and battle. And I'm gonna go ahead and travel. So I'm gonna move from the village of Fordra out to the road. When you move, you have to move to an adjacent tile, and your move has to happen at the beginning of your turn. And so at the beginning of your turn, if you decide not to move, you are forfeiting your opportunity to move. And so there is no battling and then moving. So I am going to move. I move. The next thing I do is I can hunt. Hunting starts your draw phase. And so I could draw now. And I pull the Kalinchi. When you're hunting and drawing, you can draw up to 5 cards. If I keep drawing right now, all the monsters drawn will have their stats will combine, and that's what I'll be fighting, a combination of all their stats. Later on, you'll find other things on the road. So say I pulled a equipment piece on the road, that wouldn't be combined with the stats of the monsters, obviously. It's just loot laying on the road. In this case, I'm stopping right there with just a 1-star monster. Players will find with 1-star gear, everything but 1-star monsters are impossible to beat, and even 1-star monsters are going to be a challenge. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this battle. You can refer to the instruction manual to see these items up closer. And in the instruction manual, you'll notice your 1-star gear. If you lay it, all the gear and monsters have been designed to be stacked. So you can see the numbers across just in the corner here. And so, looking at my gear, I've got 1 speed, 1 power, 2 defense. The Kalinchi has 1 speed, 2 power, 2 defense. And that's what we're going to be using to decide, can I beat this? What do I need to do in order to beat it? The first thing you do is compare speed. It has 1 speed, I have 1 speed. In the case of a tie, the hunter goes first, so I get to attack first. I've got 1 power, it has 2 defense. So my 1 power will take its 2 defense down to 1. And so we'll remember the Kalinchi has 1 defense now. It hits me for 2, and I have 2 defense. And so it's going to take my defense down to 0, and I would faint. And in the situation where it looks like you are defeated, there are a handful of things you could do to actually come out on top, or get away. So defeat isn't your only option. If it were, and I was defeated, I would just lose a turn, I'd faint, I'd take 1 turn to revive myself. So not a huge loss, but depending on how you're playing, that 1 turn could be very valuable. So in the case of a situation where you run to something that's too hard, you can run if you've got more than half the speed of the creature. You can ask for help if somebody's there with you. You could use potion items to boost your stats. If we're playing with grappling hooks, you could use those just to get out of the tile, get out of the road in this case, right away. There are 6 different ideas listed in the instruction manual for getting yourself up in stats, getting away in battle. There's weapon skills and other things as well. We won't look at all those right now, but you can look at them in your instruction manual. And some of them aren't discussed till later chapters in Rakasa. In this case, though, I am going to have to do something because 1 hit from it and it's going to kill me. So I've got kind of 2 decisions I need to make. Either boost my defense so that 1 hit doesn't kill me, or boost my power so I could 1 hit and kill it in 1 hit. So I'm going to just boost my power. That seems simple and easy to me. So I'm using the isopropanol. It puts your power up 1 point. You can use all 3 of these in a situation if you need to. You can combine them all, however you want. You could use them. They are one-time use, so I'm going to use this, and it's going to get used up in this battle. So if you look at my stats now, I have 1 speed. It has 1 speed, so I get to hit it first. I now have 2 power. It has 2 defense, and so I'm now going to hit it for 2 instead of hitting it for 1. When you use an item, it affects the entire battle. So as soon as you decide, oh, I am going to use that item, you start the battle with that item on. And so I'm going with 2 power now. I hit it for 2. Its defense goes to 0. This gets used up. We're just going to put it in the potion item pile there, and it's defeated. And so now this creature goes into my inventory, and it provides me with 1 bone. I could use it to lure an Apostle Rakasa in this game, and it's worth 50 Doru. And so that's now mine. And on my turn, out of turn, you can craft whenever. And so David can now begin his turn, and while he's doing his turn, I'm just going to go ahead and you'll see me upgrading. Normally we don't upgrade during our turns because you don't have to. You could just let the other player go. And now's a good time to mention there is something called crafting priority. And all that is it determines who gets what if you're crafting and trying to make the same gear. And it's whoever's turn the person that just finished their turn has crafting priority. And so I would say my turn is done, and then that gives me crafting priority. And then It goes from there all the way to the person whose turn is current. The person in the middle of their turn has the lowest priority when crafting. And for more details on how to use that in a heated competitive game, you can read the instruction manual on that as well. Okay, so David's turn.
Okay, I'm once again stuck, but have decent numbered tiles, so I'm just going to go ahead and re-roll my dice. I got a 3, which I don't know will really help me, but while I'm looking at that, Mike can go ahead and take his turn here. We'll advance the time tracker by 1 hour.
Wait, didn't I just go?
And I rolled my dice.
Oh, and you rolled?
Yes.
Oh, because you didn't. Did you not? Oh, you re-rolled on this turn. Okay. So I went ahead on my turn and I upgraded my femur using 1 bone from the Kalinchi. And generally, upgrading the weapon first is a good idea because it has the power, and more importantly, it has weapon skills that makes it easier for you to battle. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and draw again. Okay, I got Roadkill. Roadkill it's already dead, so it's laying there with 0 speed, 0 defense, 1 power. You could just pick that up if that's all you draw, but I'm going to try drawing something with it. So I got the Kalinchi, and same thing, we compare speed. I've got 1 speed, it's got 1 speed. I hit for 4 now, it only has 2 defense, so I could just kill it, no problem. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, David's turn.
Alright, I was able to unlock another piece of my puzzle. 3 minus 6 is -3. Well, I guess you could say 3 plus -6 is -3. Plus 5 is 2. This might be looking good for me. Alright.
Okay, clock moves forward.